We are getting ready to get ourselves our first ice storm of the season, and things are looking pretty nasty. Over the last several days, the models have been hinting towards an ice storm forming across the upper northeast for New England, possibly driving a lot of heavy ice here for the late 8th into the early 9th. Now, as far as the accumulation goes, things could get pretty nasty. We are talking the potential that some models are showing between 1/4 of an inch up to possibly even a 1/2 inch of ice. Could be a possibility. Now, whenever it comes to the accumulations here, starting off with the American GFS, this model does not go light, showing some areas across portions of east central New York State up to a 1/2 inch of ice possible. And as we work our way here towards Vermont, New Hampshire, possibly within the range of around 1/4 of an inch possible as it tapers off across Maine, possibly up to 1 or 2/10 of an inch. Now, even accumulations as low as 1/10 of an inch can cause some serious travel disruptions. So if you're going to be traveling here across New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire for basically the late 8th into the early 9th, you might want to really watch out for the roadways as it could be very slick. Now, models like the GDPS Canadian model definitely does show some very close similarities, as the GFS showing up to a 1/2 inch across New York State, and portions out there towards Vermont, New Hampshire, possibly getting up near some areas of 1/4 of an inch. Then lastly, you have the NAM model, which goes absolutely crazy here with all those areas we were talking about well into the 1/2 inch range, which I definitely think is unlikely. So you can see between the models, it definitely looks like we have ourselves a pretty icy situation on our hands. Now, ice is not going to be the only concern, as we are going to be seeing the possibility of a little bit of snow across New England as well, although nothing really too crazy. We can see it possibly traces up to maybe 1 inch or 2 across some regions. So it's not all bad news with the system, because we actually are going to be seeing those temperatures riding right around that freezing line, just slightly above freezing expected. And therefore, right around the evening of the 9th, things should be above freezing, which will allow things to melt, overall improving those road conditions. Alright, so switching things up, my friends, we are expecting the potential for another system to roll its way across the country, as the models have been very consistent in a really large trough working its way across the west here for later next week. We'll definitely need to look out there for this one, because it definitely looks like if it did play out, it could be pretty significant. Now, it's kind of too early to tell if this is going to be a winter weather event or just a bunch of moisture rolling in the country, but I also will keep in mind, if we do have some pretty big systems, pretty big troughs, they sometimes can even spark severe weather. Not saying there's going to be, but just know that it's certainly a possibility. Now, this system is still relatively too early in the model, so there's really not a lot we know about the system, but just know something big could be brewing for next week. Alrighty, my friends, so that's going to go ahead and wrap up this quick little weather update. If you guys did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like and hitting that subscribe button if you've not already, and consider sharing this with your friends and family to help spread the word out there, my friends. It'd be greatly appreciated. But alright, guys, we all take care. We'll catch you guys later on.